Excerpts from Moving On, a novel by Jaya Jha, published by Green Ink in 2012. The annual office party was on in full swing. It was a Friday night and the employees were in high spirits. It was noisy in the party hall and after some time Smriti felt suffocated. She walked out to the adjoining lawn. It had a few benches and she sat down on the one farthest from the party hall. Her thoughts drifted to Rohan. He had entered the party in a black suit. She had watched him from afar as he went around talking to various people. The party was an informal event. Everyone had let their hair down and the sound of jokes and laughter filled the air. But even though he had a drink in his hand, Rohan's demeanor screamed authority and confidence. But she no longer saw an arrogant man in him. He was just a class apart, and incredibly attractive that way. A while back he seemed to have disappeared from the party. He must have left. He hadn't talked to her, and she felt a tinge of disappointment. Why do I think about him all the time these days? She asked herself, but she knew the answer. Who else did she have in her life? Who else could she think about? But was it right? It could be disastrous. Smriti? Was she hallucinating about him now? Where could his voice come from? She looked in the direction of the voice. She wasn't imagining it. He was indeed there. He still had a glass in his hand. Shall I get you some wine? She stood up from the bench. No, sir, thanks, but I don't drink. There is always a first time. I don't want to drink. It's just a social thing. Why are you being so judgmental about it? Smriti smiled. I don't think I need to drink to be social. I'm not being judgmental, but I don't see a reason to start drinking either. Your appearance is deceptive. Always soft spoken, but really stubborn, aren't you? I will go back to the party. Wait, Smriti. Why are you running away from me? He had blocked her way, surprising her. He was clearly a little drunk, else he would not have been so uninhibited with her, she thought. Smriti looked at him and for some reason felt extremely nervous. Her instincts were saying that spending time with him would lead to something big, and she wasn't sure she would like that. Please let me go, sir. I won't. He kept his glass down on the bench and held her by her shoulders. His touch made her shiver. Sir, please, she pleaded. He wasn't being physically forceful with her. If she wanted, she could have freed herself and run away, but she could not bring herself to do that. She could not insult him by doing that. Who are you, Smriti? What are you doing to me? His exact words and questions were not important, but the way he spoke and the way he caressed her shoulders with his hands said everything. You make me do things I've never done before. You make me think the way I've never done before. You make me feel like it's possible to have good things in life without having to attach a cost to them. Like it is possible to be happy. Happy the way I've never been, Smriti. Smriti, Stop! She cried out loud and stepped back to free herself from his hold. She was in tears. Don't say another word. Don't say anything that you will regret. He shocked her into silence by taking a step towards her and putting his fingers on her lips. Smriti, I was also confused, scared that I will regret it. I hadn't come here to tell you what I feel, but there was a moment, right here, right now, when I knew it was right. Can't you feel that, Smriti? That moment when everything seemed so right? Tears continued to flow out of Smriti's eyes. Rohan cupped her face in his hands and wiped her tears away with his thumb. His face came closer to hers. A part of her asked her to run away, but she couldn't. Her lips moved as she tried to say, Please don't, but the words remained stuck in her throat. He closed in and dropped a light, quick peck on her lips. Then he nibbled on her lower lips before thrusting his tongue deep into her mouth. Smriti found herself letting go as all the fears and logical thoughts receded. She felt free as a bird and kissed him back passionately. When they at last parted, Rohan's eyes were moist with happiness. Smriti was surprised to find herself calm and serene. She spoke calmly. You don't know anything about me. You need to. Her eyes were downcast. He lifted her chin and said lovingly, But I want to know everything. Tell me, Smriti. Tell me now. Not now. Tomorrow morning if you at all want to talk by then. I don't want you to regret. Smriti, I'm not as drunk as you think I am, but I'll do whatever you want me to do. I will leave now. I will drop you. No, I have a taxi. Rohan watched her as she went away. He had told her the truth. He hadn't come there to confess his feelings, his love for her. He had seen her from afar. She was wearing a white salwar kameez with some silver work on it. She had a simple pearl necklace and matching earrings to go with the dress. Her shoulder length hair, which she usually kept tied in a ponytail during office hours, was left open. Her attire was so simple, especially when compared to how others were dressed up for the party. Still, the sight of her had made Rohan's heart skip a beat. He was almost scared of how he felt, so he hadn't gone near her. But after a while, he had felt uncomfortable in the party. He had walked out of the hall with a drink in his hand. He was still struggling with his confusion when he had spotted her, sitting on a bench, lost in her thoughts. Who was she thinking about? He had wondered.